Oh, hey, just making some labels. Listen, real important things to update you with. I'm Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity, and it is Friday, March 16th. Listen, we've got a new report up on the site written by Adam Taggart, and it's called Bankers Are Evil. And I'll get to why we're using that fairly significant language at this point. What happened this week, most notably, was the Federal Reserve raised interest rates by another range of another quarter point, widely anticipated. They said they were going to do it. No surprise, of course. The only surprise is that naturally stocks and bonds both decided to go up on this news. It's just like another wall of money hitting the world. And that's not how that's supposed to work. It's supposed to be that when you raise interest rates, you're making the world a little tighter. There's a little less money out there. Of course, the Federal Reserve doesn't have to do that anymore in terms of really pulling money in because the central banks are all in collusion. So this is a world that increasingly walks like a fraudulent duck, quacks like a fraudulent duck, acts like a fraudulent duck. Listen, it's fraudulent. It's fraudulent at this point. And if you needed anything to really cement that, how about today's newspaper in the Wall Street Journal? Again, this is today, Friday, and notice what it says here. It says, in unusual turn, Goldman, meaning Goldman Sachs, snaps up bad home loans. Let's look into this a little bit, because this is actually pretty interesting. What's fun is that you can get your propaganda usually out of the first 3 or 4 paragraphs. So this all sounds really, really nice here. It says Goldman is trying to make money even as it looks to fulfill terms of a government settlement that calls for it to help struggling homeowners. Isn't that sweet? Helping struggling homeowners. That's great. That sounds fantastic. The way it works is that Goldman is going to fix up loans that it bought from Fannie Mae by helping borrowers get current, and it gets credit for doing so from regulators and then hopes to later sell the debt when people are paying consistently again at a profit. So that's how this is spun. That's what you're going to see on the front page above the fold. But Goldman Sachs being in the mortgage business, let's rewind a second. They just bought 8,000 mortgages. That's 8,000 families. Where did Goldman get that money? Did they earn it by producing anything? Nope. They got it by doing what all the other big banks are doing, which is front-running the Fed, running fraudulent trading desks, which have zero risk because they turn in 100% win ratios day after day after day. But more significantly, as is usual for this propaganda outlet, we have to turn to the inner pages to get a sense of what's really happening. Because if you only read the front page, Goldman is helping struggling homeowners while it seeks to fulfill the terms of a deal it struck. And remember, that deal was because they did fraudulent activity. Remember, the deal originally was, and nobody went to jail at Goldman for this, they created the toxic subprime mortgages that blew up, but also bet against them. So they made them and made money making them and made money betting that they were going to blow up because they knew they made some things that were going to blow up. So they got fined for that, $5 billion. So now let's burrow in just a little bit, go a little deeper here. Ooh, now that we're on page A7 and we go in a few paragraphs, we read this. In some cases, though, instead of modifying the loans to help the struggling homeowners, Goldman is quickly recouping money by foreclosing on homes and selling them. That doesn't sound like it's helping struggling homeowners much, right? You buy their bad debt on pennies on the dollar and then kick them out of their homes and sell their homes. That doesn't sound too helpful. Let's go deeper into this article then. So the way that they're supposed to be helping, Goldman is buying the delinquent loans with an eye toward restructuring them, fancy term, for reducing interest rates. So that's one way they could service the terms of their deal with the government, where they have to provide $1.8 billion in relief back to homeowners. They're not just going to write checks. That would be like giving money. They don't do that. They're in the business of making money. So what they're going to do is restructure the loan. So let's imagine you're one of these 8,000 homeowners and you're paying 4% on your mortgage, and that has a value. And then Goldman will say, we'll restructure that at 3%. They shave a full percent off. Whatever that saves you, they'll take that and say, hey, that's like we gave them money. But of course, Goldman gets its money for 1%. So it's still making a 2% vig on this. Get it? But wait, let's go further. Final piece here. Goldman has given actually few homeowners a break and has foreclosed on many of the loans it has acquired, property and court records show. So what's really happening here is, once again, bankers are being evil. In this case, Goldman Sachs got caught illegally creating toxic mortgages and mortgage-backed securities, selling them illegally with full knowledge of that. Got completely caught. Nobody got criminally charged. Goldman got a $5.1 billion fine levied against it. $1.8 billion of that was supposed to go to helping struggling homeowners. Goldman is now going out to Fannie Mae and Freddie, buying distressed debt and then foreclosing on those properties, all under the umbrella of helping struggling homeowners as part of its fine settlement that it engineered with the government in lieu of going to prison for creating and committing massive felonies. So that's the world we live in. That's why we've entitled this next piece, Bankers Are Evil, because it's blatantly antisocial behavior. It is blatantly wrong. And it's not amoral, it's now immoral. And the people who are behind this, here's the typical arc of a banker's life. They do this for a while, they make a lot of money, then they feel real bad, they give a few percent back to charity, and then they go do yoga retreats in New Zealand for the rest of their days or something like that. But we need to stop this now. You need to understand how the game is played. That's what we do at Peak Prosperity, is we provide essential context for troubled times. If you can't read an article like that without understanding that it's just a scam, 1, 2, 3, it's very hard to make sense of that. If you understand the fraudulent nature of the world we live in and you want to do something about it, please come with us to the Row Seminar. We hold once a year, just a couple of spaces left. That's April 6th to 9th. You can see a link to that at our website. And come on by, we'd love to see you, just a few more spaces. So with that, I'm Chris Martenson. We'll see you next week.